Football is back. Well, sort of. Maybe I should say preseason football is back. And there are so many things to talk about as we just got to see the Chiefs' first live fire action in far too long. Now, it does not matter at all that the Bears ended up on top of this preseason tilt. What matters is that while the Bears' third and fourth stringers beat out our third and fourth stringers, our first and second stringers handedly beat their first and second stringers. What actually matters is that our first team offense made their drive look easy going down for a touchdown, and our first team defense started with a 3 and out. That's what matters, and I will take it. So, who played well for the Chiefs? This is such an important question as the depth chart is really beginning to solidify with the start of the preseason. And I love on this channel actually getting into the nitty gritty and looking at who played well, what particular players and units played well. So let's start with the offense. Unsurprisingly, Patrick Mahomes was nearly perfect as he led the first team offense on its touchdown drive. Sticking at quarterback, I really liked what Shane Buechele did. Outside of one interception while throwing into traffic in the third quarter, he looked very accurate and really efficient, and he could play himself into the second string conversation in a year or two if Chad Henne ever gets around to retiring. Moving to wide receiver, Justin Watson. What in the world? This dude continues his amazing offseason ascent. I think he had the game of Saturday. I think he was the standout player for us. The big-bodied wide receiver led the Chiefs with 45 yards of receiving, with 5 receptions on only 6 targets, including a great snag above his head on a 22-yard touchdown catch to finish out the first half. He's gotta be locked into a roster spot by this point, right? I mean, he looks great. Wide receiver Sky Moore had 23 yards, including an excellent tightrope toe drag sideline catch at that is a tongue twister at the end of the second quarter. On the offensive line, the first team was strong in pass protection, particularly on that first drive. Backup left tackle Jerron Christian really stood out to me with the backup offensive lineman. He looked agile and smooth in his pass sets in the second quarter. I'm really liking him as the backup left tackle. Also, Nick Allegretti, he had an interesting day. I counted that he played with the first, second, and third string offensive linemen. He got some action at both guard and center. So I think it's pretty obvious that the team sees him as the first interior offensive lineman off the bench. Good game for him. At linebacker, rookie third rounder Leo Chanel looked great. He led the defense with 7 tackles and 2 tackles for loss. He's still figuring out some things in coverage. However, he's just plain sturdy. I mean, that's the word for it. He's sturdy in run defense. He did not get pushed around. He's not going to get pushed around. That's for sure. I love how he tracked down a particular screen pass on a nice tackle for loss. Also at linebacker, starting linebacker Willie Gay was flying around, which was fun to see. On defensive line, of course, George Karlaftis. I think he had the best night of anybody on defense, best afternoon. He's already living up to his billing as a first rounder. He had a sack, multiple pressures, and just as we expected, his relentless motor was on display on every single down. Kalen Saunders stuck out on one fantastic tackle for a loss on outside run in the second quarter. Also, unsurprisingly, defensive tackle Chris Jones had a sack to end the Bears' first drive. That was fun to see. And hey, real quick, before I get into the guys who were more on the struggle bus in this game, you gotta hit that subscribe button, like the video, hit the notification bell if you want the best Kansas City Chiefs analysis brought to you on the interweb. So let's turn our attention to the guys who, they struggled. Guys who wish that they could have a mulligan for this first preseason game. And we've got to start with basically the entire running back group. I have no idea what happened to these guys. Ronald Jones, I'm worried about this guy. You know, we heard a lot about his struggles in camp, and I thought, no, get the pads on. He's going to be okay. Well, Whew, I'm not going to lie. He looks slow. He looks stiff. And he was running way too upright. He's got to get some bend in those legs, man. He had 1 yard. Yes, 1 yard on 4 carries. It was weird. It was like he must not have taken his off-season training seriously or something. He didn't look flexible. He didn't look fast. He might be having a hard time making this roster. Derek Gore, while usually a favorite of mine, had a fumble and negative 2 yards on 2 carries. Clyde Edwards-Helaire averaged just 3 yards on 2 carries. So yeah, really rough day for the Chiefs running backs and really for the running attack. Wide receiver, Cornell Powell, he had 3 catches, but he had a really ugly drop on a wide open slant. Woo, gonna have a hard time getting to the roster this regular season. Josh Gordon had 0 catches on 3 targets, which is pretty par for the course compared to his year last season. He just doesn't bring in these targets. But it did include 2 balls that he caught on the sideline, but he couldn't keep his feet in bounds on. Corey Coleman at wide receiver didn't make a catch. Didn't do anything with his return opportunities. I'd be surprised if he made this final roster. On offensive line, tackle Roderick Johnson, after getting talked up in camp, well, he seemed to struggle the most. Over on defense, second-year defensive end Joshua Kando lost outside contain on multiple rundowns. Young defensive ends, you hear about this every day, every single day in meetings. You can't do it. You can't lose outside contain. He did it multiple times. He really struggled last year in preseason too. I hope that he hopefully develops a little more in preseason this year because he has a lot of talent but hasn't tapped it yet. Corner Boodle and safety Key didn't play great in coverage either. So moving on from analyzing these particular players, here's a few other thoughts and questions coming out of the game. The first question is, how much do we all love safety Justin Reid's love for apparently being our backup kicker? I mean, Reid, I can't believe they let him do this. It's awesome. Justin kicked an extra point at the end of the first half. And then in his post-game interview, he said, the backup kicker position is locked down. That's hilarious. And it might be true, too. Who knew? Who knew? Next question is, what is the Chiefs' plan for running back Isaiah Pacheco? I'm excited about this guy. He got snaps with the first team offense, which is awesome, but they only gave him 2 running carries and 1 pass target. Now, on that pass target, his reception, he had a really nice broken tackle, and he certainly, particularly after watching the game Saturday and the rest of the running backs struggle so much, it's pretty clear he's the best athlete at running back that we have. So where is he going to fit in? Will the team let him compete for the starting spot? Do they see him as a backup that's competing maybe for the second spot with Ronald Jones or further down the depth chart? Only time will tell, but I'm excited about him. Next question is, how quickly can Darian Kinnard develop at right tackle? Now, I'm excited about Kinnard. Don't get me wrong. But just watching Saturday, his play was up and down. At times, he struggled to sustain his pass sets. And the surprising thing to me was I saw him having trouble sustaining his pass sets against power rush moves, which we didn't expect because he's kind of a power blocker. So I'm left wondering if he was so accustomed to being bigger and stronger than everybody in college that he's going to need some time to adjust and not just rely off being able to stonewall guys with his raw strength. But still hopeful about Darian Kinnard. Next question is, who got hurt on Saturday? Well, tight end Blake Bell sustained a hip injury. Running back Derek Gore went out with a neck injury. And final question, how in the world is Nathan Peterman still in the NFL? Quarterback Nathan Peterman came in for the Bears in the third quarter. If you look up his career stats, he's got 3 career touchdowns and 12 career interceptions. Like, how is this dude still in the NFL? Why isn't somebody else getting a shot instead of him? No idea. But okay, what do you think? Who is your favorite player on Saturday? Who are you wanting to see more of? What position group pecking order do you think is becoming more and more clear? Leave me your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to the Red and Gold Report. Thanks for watching, and go Chiefs!